Hey, what's going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to be walking you through why you shouldn't build a SaaS company. So I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably thinking, Nick, everyone on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook is telling me that I need to build a SaaS company. It's how I build generational wealth. It's how I become a billionaire and everything in between. And I'm telling you, as a guy that has built 5 different SaaS companies, has done over $1.5 million in ARR, that SaaS is easily the hardest thing I've ever done. Doesn't mean it's impossible. It's just one of the hardest businesses to join and just get into. It is way different from running an agency and a lot of other businesses. And just to kind of put this out there, I'm not selling you on an idea of, an agency. I'm not selling you on the idea of joining my Crow course or some business opportunity. I'm not doing any of that. I'm literally just telling you what I've learned, why I think SaaS is extremely difficult, and what I would have done differently. So let's get right into it. So the first thing is everything on the development front is extremely tough. Great developers are expensive. And here's the thing. If you're not technical, you're bootstrapping your company just like I was, like getting a experienced developer is extremely hard because typically you don't have the funds to afford them and be able to, have them for 6+ months to just build out your MVP before you even make a single dollar, right? And that's the position I was in. And so I did the alternative route. I hired very cheap developers. And here's the thing that I learned, right? Cheap developers are expensive because they will take twice as long to build the product. And then whenever it comes to actually showing you the end result, it's never there. So then they're going to take another 2-3 weeks to get things done. And guess what? You're paying them hourly, and eventually you're just gonna be paying them the same price as a great developer. And this kind of brings me to my next point, right? As a non-technical person, reviewing a developer's work is impossible. You have to just take their word for it. And typically, if you're hiring cheap talent that you don't know, you don't have a relationship with, that you found on Upwork, kind of sketch and kind of risky, and you're typically never gonna hit your deadlines. And so everything on the development front is extremely hard. And if you've never worked at a tech company and seen how a true development team is ran, even doing the management of it is extremely hard. I've built development teams of like 8 to 12. And let me tell you, that was the hardest thing I've done. I did like 10 different iterations on the project management, the daily stand-ups, everything on like the bugs, the feedback, creating the feedback loops to improve the product, everything on that side. It's so hard. Like SaaS, by far, on a business model level, requires the most amount of skills to make successful, right? And that's why I think that if you're, let's say, a 8 out of 10 entrepreneur, like getting into spaces like an agency and like home service type businesses, like you're already so much smarter than a majority of the people in the crowd. It's so much easier to innovate and stand out and really be at the top of that space. And so let's talk about my second point, churn, right? If you look at a churn of a typical SaaS company in the B2B lead gen space, that's where I built all my products. The churn is anywhere in that 8 to 12% range, which is extremely high, and it's hard to run a business around and build a business around. Like if you compare that to my agency where our churn is 2% and our product price is a lot higher, it kind of doesn't really make the most sense, right? And I think a lot of people get into the SaaS space thinking, okay, I'm gonna have a $97 product, people are gonna sign up on my website, and they're gonna pay me for the rest of my life. And that is typically what never happens. And the other thing is the self-sign up, if you wanna call it PLG, product-led growth, low ticket subscriptions on your website, it typically will always attract startups. And the thing about startups is they may not churn, but what happens is they typically won't have money in their account. And so when you charge their card, it's going to fail. And so this is actually a real screenshot from one of the SaaS companies I ran. We had $62,000 in failed payments. That's actually insane. And you could see that was almost half the revenue from that SaaS company. Like that is a huge chunk of money. And so churn is just a lot harder to manage. And the other thing too is like, and this kind of brings me to my next point, like the LTV, right? So you have a $97 product, maybe you're in that $300 product price point per month. Like you could retain them for a full year, right? Make your LTV, let's say averaged out around $2,000 to $3,000. That still is pretty low. That's like running an agency service for a month and churning them out after month 2 or something. Like your LTV is still going to be higher at the agency. And so when your LTV is low, it makes it really hard to kind of build a financial model that can sustain like team members and high quality like team members and everything of that sort. It's just super hard because like imagine if you're running an agency, client is complaining, they're about to churn. I could hop on a call, my team can hop on a call, and it would be totally worth it, right? But like if someone is paying $97 per month, I can't have a dedicated team member hop on calls with every one of those users to help convince them not to churn. And so like building everything on the client success side, or I guess the customer success side or the user success side on a SaaS SaaS company is a lot harder because the numbers just don't typically add up. And here's the thing, right? When you're building a SaaS company, like it should not be the first company or first model that you jump into, because for the first 6 months to a year, you're really not taking much personal income. You are having to put a lot of the money back into the company to expand out and hire and be able to build runway for customer support, for development, for, you know, more developers and everything on that side. It's honestly pretty hard to run on the day to day. And like, even if you had 100 paying users at $97, it's only 10K in MRR. That's equivalent to like 2 to 3 clients at an agency. And acquiring customers is hard. And if you do it with a low price point, this takes me to my next topic, you can't really deploy sales reps. Because if your product is month to month and it's around that $97 to $300 per month price point, you could give your reps 50% commission. You could give them 75% commission for the lifetime of that user. But at that price point, they have to do thousands of demos to make $10,000 per month, which is like, you know, decent for a sales rep, but like they should be making a lot more. There's some, you know, at some more of these enterprise SaaS companies, there's account executives that are making 250K plus, right? And so the only way you can build a sales team around a low ticket SaaS product, and I wouldn't even recommend building a sales team around it, is that you have to supplement them with a large base or a decent amount of like a base, like at least 50K or 30K or something of that sort. And, you know, once again, like when you're first starting out, that's a lot of money that you had to put aside for just one specific role. And even at that point, right, just to kind of speak on it a little bit more, like doing demos on a product that is only $97 per month, it's not really that smart because you're basically just valuing your time at $100 per hour. And, you know, when you're running a company, you should be valuing your time a lot more and kind of building everything around that. And so you can't really deploy a sales team. You have to take more of a like marketing focused, like inbound growth focused approach to getting customers to sign up just straight off your website. And everything on the UX side has to be optimized for that. So you have to run a lot of split tests. Like basically what I'm saying is that you have to be like a very good marketer to make SaaS companies work, right? Because you have to be able to generate a high amount of traffic, you know, figure out on your landing page, what do I got to say here to make them convert? And then at a high rate. And then once they actually get into the app, how can I build the UI and the UI in a way to make sure that the customer interaction and their journey inside the app is flawless? And that to me is very hard. It's just a lot more skill applied. Like you could, once again, be like a 3 to 5 out of 10 marketer and absolutely crush it when it comes to acquisition on an agency, because there's just not as high level skill and talent in that space, in my opinion. And then this takes me to one of my other points, and this is something I absolutely hated, which was customer support on it. Like chat support is absolutely crazy. And if you don't have all the things that most startups don't have in the beginning, which is great UX, UI, and help docs, like you're going to be in chat support all day long. There's never a time off. They're going to see it at the middle of the night, like it's right now, 9:33 p.m. And, you know, they're going to be hitting you up on a Saturday and a Sunday. There's just literally no days off when there's a chat support there. And it's crazy too, like the stuff people will say over a email or like versus like getting on a call and stuff, like the stuff people say in chat support, it's absolutely insane. And kind of like what I said, like a lot of the times it's just crazy. Like we've had so many times where like a customer would be like, oh, this thing is not working. This, you know, your entire system's down. Like I need this fixed in 2 seconds, yada, yada, yada. And you're kind of sitting there thinking like, oh shit, like my entire thing is down. Like I need to, you know, figure out where the bug is. And you find out it's just the user being dumb. Like they just don't know how to use the app. And so you spent all that time, you freaked out, stressed out, put your development team on stress to figure out this bug. In reality, it's just the user not knowing how to use the app. And so there's so many situations like that on the customer support side that just make running a SaaS company extremely difficult. And it's kind of like what I said earlier, right? Building comp structures around chat support is a lot harder. I mean, there's a lot more AI chatbots there that can kind of do a lot of the chat support stuff now. Like we're using one called Gleep.io. It's really good. We have it on our website, Scrubby, but it's still like, once again, not the best when it comes to customer success. Like I think customer support on all of our SaaS companies could be way better, but it's just so hard to build around. And so these are all kind of like the reasons why I think SaaS is hard. Like I said, right? Like I think you just have to be at a spot in your life where money, like you could not make a single dollar for at least like a year and be completely fine, right? Because you get to keep just reinvesting back in the company so that it can grow and be, you know, sustainable and, you know, potentially be set for an exit 5-10 years down the road. So I think that's one huge thing there. And then yeah, that's basically all the reasons why like I just think SaaS is a lot harder. And like one thing I mentioned earlier was that, you know, like SaaS is very competitive. I think like some of the best talent in the world, you know, jump into the tech space, and it makes it a lot harder to compete. You know, obviously the best rise to the top, but that's just something that you'll consistently always see. So if I was to do another SaaS company in the future, I mean, obviously I'm still running like 4 because, you know, there's still huge opportunity there. Like the couple of things I would have changed is I would just remove the product-led growth motion. I'm just not great at marketing. I don't think I'm an A-class marketer. I think I'm really good at lead gen. I think I'm really good at sales and operations and automations. And I would have just took more of an enterprise route, right? So like we would have done like actual sales demos. We would have, maybe done a POC, give them a dedicated CSM to handle all their inquiries so they're not just doing chat support. We would have charged more, so not doing $97 per month plan and making it month to month. We would have done annual plans, charged a lot higher so we collect or are able to predictably forecast our financials better, and then build out all of our CSM's comps around renewals and everything of that sort. And then just like being able to charge higher prices earlier on it's going to allow me to have the cash on hand, employ people to take a lot of the workload off of me so I could just keep focusing on building the business rather than working inside of it. And the other thing too is I would have built products that were simple. So I've built an email automation platform, very hard to do, just so many different things and so many different pages that you have to create and everything of that sort. I would just stick to simple products that do one thing and they do it so good and have a huge impact. So a great example would be Scrubby. And Scrubby is a good example of a SaaS that I enjoy running because our churn is pretty low on it. It has product market fit. We're I would say 80% of our revenue has came from 3 customers because we could charge a lot because it's credit based and we're selling huge packages, and we can do everything I kind of mentioned right here with it, right? And so that's basically my quick video explanation of why I wouldn't jump into SaaS companies. Hopefully you guys learned a thing or two from it. I mean, this may not apply to you if you're in that space in your life where you feel like you have the funds, you can do this. I would 100% do it. It's a huge and great opportunity, but this is just everything I've learned from, once again, building 5 SaaS companies, doing $1.5 million in ARR. I'm still running a majority of these SaaS companies, and hopefully we'll do a lot more in ARR, and year down running the agency has been easier and a lot more sustainable and just way easier to compete in. So hope you got a good value from this. If you could do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, drop a like, drop a comment, and just follow along on the journey. I'm going to be dropping a lot of videos like this.